Hi Sam. I'm glad to see you again. Today, we're going to learn the German word
Bei.
Hi Alex. That sounds interesting. What does
Bei.
mean?
Bei.
is a preposition that means at, by, or with. It's used in various contexts, but the most common meaning is at. Just be careful, because it can be confused with the English by, especially when talking about location.
Oh, I see. Can you give me some examples of how
Bei.
is used?
Sure. For instance, you might say,
Ich bin bei meinem Freund.
which means I am at my friend's house. Another example is,
Ich arbeite bei einer Firma.
meaning I work at a company.
That makes sense. Are there any grammar rules I should know about?
Bei.
Yes,
Bei.
is always used with the dative case. For example, you would say,
Bei mir.
meaning with me, or
Bei dir.
meaning with you. The dative is important because it changes the articles in pronouns.
Can you explain more about the dative case?
Of course. In German, the dative case is used to indicate the indirect object of a sentence. For example, if I say,
Ich gebe dir das Buch.
which means I give you the book, you is the indirect object and would take the dative form.
That sounds a bit tricky. How do I know when to use the dative?
A good tip is to look for prepositions that require the dative, like
Bei. Mit.
with, and,
Nach.
after. Once you get used to them, it becomes easier.
Where does the word
Bei.
come from?
Bei.
Has its roots in Old High German, where it was also used to indicate location. Over time, its meaning has remained quite stable. It's fascinating how some words can stay relevant for so long.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, can we break down the word
Bei.
more?
Certainly.
Bei.
Is a simple preposition, so it doesn't have a prefix or suffix. It stands alone, which is why it's easy to remember.
Are there similar words in German that I should know?
Yes, there are. For example, words with the same pattern include
Mit.
with,
Von.
from, to, and
Nach.
after. All of these are prepositions and often used in similar contexts.
What about compound words or derivatives?
Since
Bei.
is a standalone word, it doesn't form compounds as easily, but you can find it in phrases. For instance,
Bei uns.
means at our place.
That's good to know. Can you give me some real-life situations where
bei,
would be useful?
Definitely. Imagine you're at a cafe. You could say,
Ich bin bei der Kaffeepause.
meaning I am at the coffee break. You could also say,
Ich treffe meine Freunde bei der Schule.
which means I meet my friends at the school.
Let me try.
ich bin bei der Kaffeepause.
Perfect. Now, how about saying I am with my family?
Ich bin mit meiner Familie.
Almost. That's a different preposition. You should say,
Ich bin bei meiner Familie.
good effort though.
Thanks for the correction. What else can I learn about?
Bei,
Let's talk about its usage.
Bei.
Is informal, but it's widely used in everyday conversation. Some common collocations are
Bei der Arbeit.
at work,
Bei Freunden.
at friends, and
Bei der Prüfung.
during the exam.
What are some similar words I should watch out for?
You should be careful with
Bei.
and,
Von.
as they can both indicate location but have different meanings. Remember,
Bei.
means at, while,
Von.
means from.
Got it. Can you give me some example sentences with
bei,
Sure. Here are a few,
Ich bin bei der Bank.
which means I am at the bank. Another one is,
Sie arbeitet bei einer großen Firma.
meaning she works at a big company. And how about,
Wir essen bei Freunden heute Abend.
which means we are eating at friends tonight.
great sentences? I'm learning a lot. Can you quiz me on what we covered?
Absolutely. First question, what does
Bei.
mean in English?
It means at, right.
Correct. Second question, which case does
Bei.
require?
The accusative.
Not quite. It requires the dative case. Third question, can you give me a sentence using
Bei.
ich bin bei meiner Familie.
well done? Fourth question, where does the word
Bei.
come from?
Old High German.
That's right. Last question, what is a common collocation with
Bei.
Bei der Arbeit.
perfect? You nailed it.
Thanks, Alex. This was super helpful. So what's the key takeaway about
Bei,
The key takeaway is that
Bei.
means at and always takes the dative case. It's a useful word to know for everyday conversations in German.
I appreciate all your help. I feel more confident using
bei.
now.
I'm glad to hear that, Sam. Keep practicing, and you'll continue to improve. See you next time.